So first and foremost, let's do a few introductions. I'm Professor Tanya Ward. I'm the director of the undergraduate nursing program. And I believe Dr. Shamus is on as well. I'll let her introduce herself.
Welcome, everyone. I'm seeing a lot of posts in the chats, and we're so excited that you're here. So excited that you're excited about nursing and building some connections. We have a wonderful program. It's a rigorous program, and just know that the nursing administration, the nursing faculty, we're here to support you. And so please trust that we will support you and we'll do all that we can to help you get through each semester of the program. So I hope that you'll enjoy today, you'll focus and just really take some time to congratulate yourselves on getting to this point and how exciting it is, and enjoy the information that we have to share today. A lot of it is going to be some policies and procedures, so it might be a little bit boring at times, but all really important information and essential information for you all to be successful starting the program. So really happy you're all here. I don't know, is Professor Zhang on yet?
I don't think she is, but when she comes on, Professor Emma Zhang is our Assistant Director of Practicum Education. So she oversees clinical and simulation experiences for the students. I just want to start today with a devotional and an opening prayer. Here at Concordia, we really involve our faith in just about everything that we do, as far as looking towards working together, teaching you how to lean into your faith at times when things are hard, really sharing our faith with you and in a supportive way, and also encouraging you to kind of look at your patients and look at each other as holistic people, meaning that we look at the mind, body, and spirit of a person to really kind of help see the whole person as opposed to one thing at a time. So for our devotional this morning, 1 Peter 5:7 says, "Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you." And I think that this is really moving because coming into nursing school is often very anxious for a lot of people. So I think that just relying on the Lord and casting your anxiety to him really will help kind of settle your mind, body, and spirit about things as you enter the program. Philippians 4:6 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." And again, I think that this is a really fitting devotional. And then Matthew 6:25-27 says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life?" So again, just trust in the Lord, lean into your faith, lean on each other as you begin this program, because it's going to be one of the most incredible experiences of your life. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, this is a new day in my life. Everything is under your control and guidance. I pray as I start nursing school that you will instruct and teach me in the way I should go. Father, thank you for all the blessings in my life. Thank you for your beloved Son, Jesus, who carries my burden daily. I take the yoke of Jesus, which is light and easy. Father, I love you and I praise you in Jesus' almighty name. Amen. So let's talk for a few minutes about the mission of our nursing program and professionalism in nursing. These are both really important pieces, I think, that are foundational for you to understand as you enter our program. The nursing program mission we have is to holistically educate baccalaureate and advanced practice nurses to deliver high quality, safe nursing care to diverse populations using critical thought, compassionate service, and courageous leadership. This mission does flow directly from the university's mission, and as a faith-based institution, Concordia is really committed to service to improve the lives of all of God's people and to respect everybody as individuals of great intrinsic worth. But what I really want to highlight here are the elements of using critical thought. Critical thought in nursing is essential. You have to be thinking through everything that you're doing. There isn't a single thing that you'll do as a nurse that doesn't involve complex thinking at times. Okay. Compassionate service. Nursing is often a calling for people. It was a calling for me, and I think most every other nurse you meet, it's a calling, and we serve the people that we care for, right? It's compassionate service. We are compassionate of their circumstances, whatever they may be. And then courageous leadership. Being a nurse is not for the faint of heart, y'all. And I know you know that, but you'll begin to experience more and more through our program that will really kind of challenge you to step up into leadership positions, to learn how to be an advocate for your patients, for yourself, for your profession. And that's going to take a lot of courage. So just know that these three elements that are also part of the university's mission are very much a part of being a nurse. Let's talk about professionalism in nursing. Dr. Shamus, did you want to speak to this or do you want me to speak to this?
I can speak to it. Thank you. So I think that Professor Ward really spoke to this in saying that nursing is a calling for many of us, including myself, and we hold ourselves in high regard when it comes to professionalism, ethical standards, moral standards, and I think many of you will see that as you enter the program, one of the first courses that you're going to take in your first semester is called Professionalism in Nursing. And so we talk with you about the role of the nurse. We talk to you about ethics, the board of nursing, um, trust. Nursing is regarded by the public as the most trusted profession, and that's year after year. And we take that seriously. We take the public's regard for us, and we hold it in really high esteem. And so, certainly, nursing is more than a title, it's more than wearing a uniform. It is something that we care for all of our patients as if they were our friends, our family, our loved ones. And we keep that in mind no matter what type of treatment sometimes patients give us. Not all patients handle their illness or whatever's going on with them well. And so, but we always maintain that level of professionalism in caring for those patients and we work through them. We work with them to get through a lot of really difficult times. And it really is an honor to be a nurse. I've worked with patients for 20 years and I've been with patients through some of the best and the worst times in their lives. And that's very special that we're allowed to participate in the lives of our patients in that way. And so we do want to make sure that we are working really, really hard to provide quality patient care. And that means studying hard. That means taking a lot of the content in the nursing courses. And when you graduate, become professional nurses, continuing that lifelong learning because, as we know, healthcare changes very rapidly. And so we constantly have to be adapting to change and we have to be willing to learn new things and sometimes change the way that we do things. And that's so, so important to us being professionals in nursing. Any questions so far? We can go to the next slide. And so we're going to play a video that I think, a couple videos that really just embody what it is to be a nurse, what it is to be a Concordia nurse, because certainly at Concordia, we hold ourselves to an even higher standard when it comes to the way that we interact with our patients, the way that we interact with others in healthcare, and certainly your fellow students, faculty, and the staff that you're going to be working with when you're out there in simulation and you're in clinical.
Let's see if I can get this video to play. Played a minute ago. Let me know if y'all can't hear it, okay? Oh, come on. Hold on, y'all.
Professor Ward, we can't hear the video.
Okay, hold on. Let me see what I can do. There is a way to do this. Give me just a second, y'all. I had to click the button. That helps it. All right, let's try it again. Can you all see that?
Yes, we can see it on the screen.
Yes.
All right, let's give it a whirl. Let me know if you can't hear it again.
No, Professor Ward, I still can't hear it.
All right, well, let's try this. Don't focus too much on hearing anything because it's just a musical like interlude sort of thing. But watch what they're showing you on the screen as far as the words, because that's really where a lot of the context comes from. And just envision some sort of melodic music in your mind, since I can't figure out why the audio doesn't want to play. All right, y'all. Sorry that the audio wasn't working for the music. I promise it sounded really great. But what we wanted you to take from that is that you never know what somebody else is going through. You never know somebody else's experience at that moment in time. And so as nurses, we need to be very mindful of that, not just with our patients, but their family members, each other, anybody that we come across, really. And while in school, some of the things that we're going to work on helping you develop regarding your professionalism is how to be in the moment with your patients and their families, and realize that sometimes what's going on is far bigger of a dynamic than what you may see in just your snippet of time. So just something to be mindful of. Can y'all hear me okay? Or is that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Otherwise, I probably look real silly just sitting here talking to myself. So let's talk about some academic policies and procedures. These things are going to be really helpful in guiding you through what you need to be doing throughout the program. We do have a nursing student handbook that I'm going to refer to, and it has our policies and procedures clearly outlined in it, as well as just some of our useful tools like the uniform standard and things like that. So I'm going to refer to that. But let's talk here briefly about enrollment compliance, okay? If compliance documents have not been uploaded by tomorrow and we have not reached out to you for further instruction, it is entirely possible that you will not be registered for courses, okay? Compliance, clinical compliance is a part of things that we have to have. We have agreements with our healthcare partners that we are going to meet their expectations of the people that are coming in. So a lot of that, as you know, is vaccinations and drug screens and background checks and things like that. So all of these compliance requirements are set by our healthcare partners. And we will talk more specifically about each one a little bit later when we get down to the questions and answers. I know that a lot of you have had questions about certain things, okay? But really anything that you have completed up to this point, you need to have uploaded into Clinical Student. I cannot tell you how important this part is, okay? Please do not wait to upload things tomorrow, upload everything tomorrow. Please upload things as you get them. Some students, every student has an individual circumstance, so we will be reaching out to some of you one-on-one, or we already have. But again, we hope to clear up most of the questions you have at the end of this presentation. Emily, I see your hand is up.
Yes. Is there a number to actually call Clinical Student? Because I've had trouble with them and I've emailed them 3 times and I've got a hold of you and no one's like replied back to me. And it's just the one checklist and it's getting really annoying. So I didn't know if there's actual number I can call.
Not that I know of. I know that their help desk email is support@system32.com.
Yeah, they don't reply.
If you're not receiving a response to that, if you've already emailed me, I will get to that email as soon as I can. If you haven't, please email me and I'll see if I can't get in touch with them and get you a response.
Okay, yeah, no, I emailed you I think like 2 days ago, so it's
okay
there.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm buried.
No,
Thank you, Donna.
No, I understand. I was just like freaking out because it's due tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I understand. Okay. I understand. Donna,
Thank you.
If you can find a number, that'd be great. You're welcome.
Will do. No problem.
So let's talk a little bit about communication, okay? This is something that both Dr. Shamus and I may touch on, but communication is really, really important. And one of the biggest parts of communication is being professional, okay? I know this may sound kind of silly, but being professional in your communications, in your emails with instructors, in your discussions with other people, in discussions with each other, is really important. So when emailing me, for instance, my expectation is that you address the email to Professor Ward. If you're emailing each other, you can call each other by your first names. But right now, I'm Professor Ward. I'm not Tanya. I'm not Hey Lady. I'm not What's up, yo. I get all kinds of things, right? But let's start establishing those professional relationships now. And that expectation carries through with anybody that you're speaking with. So any of your instructors, you should address this professor, insert last name, okay? Communicate often. We really need you to be proactive in your communication and tell us if there's something going on. It is so helpful to us as your faculty if you reach out to us and tell us, hey, something has come up. I am struggling to meet a deadline for an assignment. Can we work something out? Or I just want you to know that I've had a really bad week and I could use some prayers. So if I seem a little bit distant during class, that's why. It's so much more helpful for us to hear from you directly than for you to maybe miss an assignment or two and us reach out to you and hope to hear something back, right? If you have an instructor email you, it's professional to respond to that email, right? And if you're kind of, let's say that you're a little elevated, right? Like you have a situation that just makes you a little bit crazy, right? And you are a little bit upset, right? Write a response to that instructor, but then maybe sit on it, right? Don't send it right away. Sit on it, think about what you want to say, and then come back to it a little bit later and really make sure that what you're communicating is, in fact, what you're intending to say. So much can be lost in translation. And if you feel like maybe email is just not going to be a good way to communicate about this particular thing, then request to set up a meeting with your faculty so that you can have that FaceTime, whether it's in person or virtual, and you can sit there and try to sort out what you think is the best way to move forward through a situation. All right. We really want you to be solution focused. So if you come to us with a concern about something, also come to us having really used your critical thinking skills, thought through the situation, and propose a solution. Okay. That may be something that your faculty hadn't thought of. And it could be really helpful to maybe not even you, but everybody from that point forward. So be solution focused. The formal method of communication for Concordia is your CTX email. If you have been using Gmail or Yahoo or whatever personal email address you have to communicate with us up to this point, you need to start using your CTX email. Okay, that's the official form of communication from CTX. And if you do not use your CTX email, it's possible that your emails will not be captured by our system or will go unrecognized. Okay, so just so you know, please, please, please pay attention to your course announcements. It's our expectation that you are checking each one of your courses in Blackboard daily, but if an instructor posts a course announcement, that course announcement will also be emailed out to you. And it's really important that you check those. I think it's best to start each day by checking your email. And the reason I say that is some version of, class was canceled. Well, that might have been a 10 o'clock in the morning class that you were about ready to head out the door for, right? Maybe it's, I need you to make sure that you bring this, whatever it is, today to clinicals, okay? So get in the habit of checking your email daily, if not more than once a day. Please also understand that when we respond to your emails, we do the very best we can to keep up with everybody. But as just operating standard, instructors have a minimum of 24 to 72 hours to respond to your emails, okay? And those are business days. So please be understanding that we are responding to everything as fast as we absolutely can, but we need to make sure that we are really responding thoroughly to people's questions, and that sometimes takes some time to do. Additionally, if you email us and you don't get a response right away, please be patient. I've had several people email me multiple times, right? And so by the time I get to their first email, they've already sent 4 others. And so I'm trying really hard, even currently, to reconcile emails. And I know that all of you are very anxious for information, and we are all working very hard to get that information to you. But continuing to email us or calling us constantly takes away time that we would have to actually be able to answer you and other students. Okay, so just please be patient. If it's gone more than about 48, 72 hours and you haven't received a response, please reach out again. Email is often the best way to get a hold of your faculty because, at least speaking from my experience, I'm often in a meeting or working on a project, teaching a class. And so if my phone is ringing, I'm not available to answer it. So it's not as if I don't want to talk to you, it's that I'm not available to answer the phone. Email is a far easier and faster way for me to communicate with you. Okay. Your email signature. This is so important. Okay. In your email signature that you can build, you need to have your name, what cohort you are, and what location and track you're in. Okay. So this January, we are super excited to be opening our DFW campus for our ABSN track, which now means that we'll have ABSN students in Austin and in DFW. So in order for us to make sure that we are really appropriately responding to your emails, it's really helpful if we know exactly where you are in the program, what track you're in, and what location you're at. Okay, that will help us create a more timely response for you. So just go ahead into your student email, get in there and create that. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the chain of command, because this is going to play into how you communicate with each other. Okay. So for your theory and skills courses, your chain of command is going to be your course faculty. We always want to so in your email signature, you need your name, your cohort, so you'll all be ones in the spring, your track, ABSN or TRAD, and your location, Austin, DFW. Okay. So when it comes to your chain of command, all of that information, right, is going to help make sure that you're talking to the right person. So we always want you to talk to your course faculty first. And this is because if you have a question or a concern about a course, they're the most appropriate people to respond to that question or concern. Okay. So start with your course faculty if you have anything that you need clarified. Now, if you're unable to reach your course faculty after 48 hours, or you have just not really felt like your situation is resolved with your course faculty, then you can elevate that concern to me. One of my first questions to you will be, have you discussed this with your course faculty? Okay, because I need to make sure that the right people have been involved in the right conversations. From there, if we are not able to reach an agreement, then we need to move towards meeting with Dr. Shamus or having an email with Dr. Shamus, okay? Dr. Shamus is the Senior Director for the College of Health Sciences, so you could think of that as like a dean, if that's a term you're more familiar with, okay? So she's really kind of your highest level within the nursing program. For those of you in DFW, this chain of command will maybe be slightly different. You will actually have a professor on site. Her name is Professor India Sample, and she will likely be a person that you talk to between the course faculty and myself. So India, do you want to introduce yourself and greet everybody?
Yes. I'm playing with the camera. Let's see. Hello. My name's India Sample. I'm here in the Dallas-Fort Worth location. I'm looking forward to meeting you students. This week we've spent time unpacking supplies, getting our skills areas set up, making sure that we're ready to run SIMS, which is our simulation education. And I'm looking forward to meeting all of you in January.
Thank you, Professor Sample. So really, again, for those of you in DFW, you may go speak with Professor Sample. If you've spoken with your course faculty, you still have a question or concern, then you can bring things up to her. And the reason we're kind of modifying the chain of command is because she's somebody on site that you can speak with. And if there are continued concerns after you meet with her, then elevate something to me, okay? Your chain of command for practicum is a little bit different. Your practicum is your clinical and simulation experience. Again, you'll start with your course faculty, but if you continue to have a question or concern, you'll raise that to Professor Zhang. After that, you'll raise it to myself and then Dr. Shamus, okay? Again, in DFW, Professor Sample will kind of be the intermediary between your course faculty and Professor Zhang. Let's talk a little bit about the policies and procedures. The student handbook. The student handbook has everything outlined for you that's a policy or procedure within our nursing program. It is updated. Generally, we try to do updates every semester if something has changed, but sometimes we'll make an update mid-semester and we'll work really hard to communicate that out to you guys. Sometimes an update, for example, could be, let's say that the system requirements for some testing software we have been updated, okay? So let's say that you know you need to upgrade to the newest version of Windows or the newest version of iOS if you're a Mac user, right? We'll try to communicate those updates to you to make sure that you're completely aware, and then we'll modify the student handbook to reflect that as well, okay? Texas Board of Nursing regulations. I want to make mention of this. They are also in the student handbook, but the Board of Nursing, as you know, completes a really thorough background investigation on all of the applicants to nursing programs, right? And there are certain things that they may identify as a reason that you would not be able to be eligible for licensure. So one of the reasons that we have you get your blue card or your letter from the Board of Nursing prior to starting the program is it would be a really unfortunate circumstance for you to start a program and then find out after you've already started and committed time, money, and effort that you're actually not eligible for licensure as a nurse, okay? If for some reason while you're in our program, you have an encounter with law enforcement, that's something that needs to be reported to us. Okay, it may be something as minor as a traffic ticket. It may be something much more significant, but those things need to be reported to us so that we can make sure that we are aware and that those things are correctly being reported to the Board of Nursing as well. Failure to do this may very severely impact our ability to continue with you in the program. Okay. So as far as your blue card, we're going to talk about that a little bit later when we come down to compliance, because I know some of you have questions about your blue card as well. Okay. Student Success Action Plans. SSAPs are a communication tool that we use with students to really kind of help detail out an area that we see a student that is struggling. Let's say that you failed an exam, right? We would create an SSAP documenting that you failed an exam and that we've created kind of a comprehensive plan together so that you know what you need to do in that class moving forward in order to be successful. SSAPs are not punitive. They are not intended to be a disciplinary tool. They are a communication method that we use to make sure that you thoroughly understand the expectations that you have to meet in a course to meet course outcomes. Now, there has been a rumor floating around for years that SSAPs are tied to some sort of point system, and that point system is disciplinary. So I have students sometimes reach out to me and say, how many SSAPs can I get in a semester? It's not limited, right? I look at them kind of confused. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, I got two. If I get a third one, I'm out of the program. Y'all, that is not true. That is 100% not true. SSAPs, again, are not punitive. They're not disciplinary. They are communication tools, okay? So you'll have as many as you potentially need. Let's talk a little bit about academic integrity, okay? Academic integrity is not just plagiarism, outright plagiarism, right? I think we're all familiar with what plagiarism is when you're claiming somebody else's work as your own, whether that was an oversight because you forgot to cite something or because it was just outright dishonest, right? There's a lot of different varieties that academic integrity can be displayed. Academic integrity involves things like doing your homework together. Your assignments are individual assignments unless your instructor has specifically told you that it is a group assignment. So working on homework together, doing an online quiz together is not appropriate. Okay, that's a violation of academic integrity. Dividing and conquering. Let's say that you all have the same, some of your classes, you'll have these online quizzes that are due, right? You can't do the first 5 quizzes and then have your roommate do the next 5 quizzes for both of you, right? Every assignment that we give to you is given to you because there is importance in the content. We need you to learn that content. So if you're doing work for somebody else, not only are you not giving them the opportunity to learn, but it's dishonest. Talking about a test, okay? If you have taken an exam and you go out and you start talking about that exam, that's a violation of academic integrity, okay? I do not care if your buddies also took the same exam and you guys all just walked out of the test, right? And you're standing in the hallway and you're talking about, do you remember that one question about respiratory medications? What did you put for that, right? That can't happen. It's a violation of academic integrity, and we take those kinds of things very seriously. The university has a process for academic integrity violations. So if you were reported for an academic integrity violation, that's actually reported up through the university, and the university will follow up on that process there with your faculty. So again, I just really want to reinforce that this is your opportunity in this program. Nobody should be doing the work for you, and you shouldn't be discussing your work with anybody else. Okay. Talk about the foundations of nursing and nursing practice. Okay, Ashley, that's a good question. What if you're in a study group and you want to go over a topic? Okay, there's a difference in going over a concept or a topic from class and talking about that together versus sitting down together and doing your homework together, right? There's a difference in going to tutoring and working with a tutor to really thoroughly understand something versus having a tutor sit down and help you with a quiz, right? Study groups are going to be really important, you guys. I cannot emphasize enough how much you can support each other in your learning. That being said, again, it's your opportunity to learn, right? So some of the ways that study groups can work really, really well together. Let's say that you're going over a topic. Let's talk about an acute kidney injury, right? You can sit down and discuss an acute kidney injury and have that have nothing to do with your homework, a test, a quiz, because you're talking about that disease process. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes the lines get a little blurry. If you ever have a question about whether or not something is or isn't allowed, do not hesitate to reach out and ask. I would so much more rather you ask and me clarify something for you than for you to make an academic integrity violation that I have to follow up on, okay? As a point of new thought on that, there are several online resources where people post information, whether it's a previous term paper, whether it's something that they downloaded from one of the learning platforms that you may use and they upload online. If you are found to be using somebody else's work, let's say that you ripped off somebody else's term paper that they posted online for use, that's plagiarism, right? Because you didn't write that paper. So if you're found to have been doing anything like that or uploading information like that to the internet, that would be an academic integrity violation. So I encourage you to not utilize those kinds of resources that are online. Okay. Let's talk quickly about the foundations of nursing and nursing practice. There are 4 foundations of nursing and nursing practice that you're going to see referred to in every course syllabus. Okay. And they are being a member of the profession, being a provider of patient-centered care, being a patient safety advocate, and being a member of the healthcare team. All 4 of these elements are really the foundational structure of everything that you're going to do in nursing, right? We are wanting to provide safe care for our patients that's centered towards their particular circumstance. We are a member of the profession, a member of the healthcare team, and we need to act accordingly into all of these elements. So in your course syllabi, you'll see how course outcomes tie to each one of these foundations of nursing and nursing practice. Expectations of the successful student. These are things that we have just found to be true over the years in the program that we think will help you be successful, especially in your J1 semester. You need to have a strong motivation to learn. Whether you're in the traditional track or the accelerated track, you need to have a strong motivation to learn. A lot of this content is thick, it is hard, and it is overwhelming. This motivation to learn is really going to help carry you through when you are just in the mix of it, okay? Well-developed study skills. Having well-developed study skills is going to be really important. Studying in nursing is a lot different than studying for previous courses that you've done before. Because let's say diabetes, right? You're learning about diabetes. Well, diabetes is a disease process. It is pretty easily understood. But how diabetes looks in 2 different people could be wildly different. The kinds of problems that each one of these people have related to diabetes could be very, very different, right? So you can't just memorize and regurgitate information like maybe you have in other classes. Everything within nursing is very dynamic. It's all very situational dependent. So you're going to have to develop study skills that really support that. And that's a little bit different than what you've experienced before. With problem solving and clinical decision-making skills, a lot of what you're focused on in nursing is making decisions regarding safe patient care, right? And that's going to involve a lot of problem solving at times and a lot of looking at things from a very clinical perspective, right? We need to kind of take ourselves out of the situation sometimes and really look very analytically at what's going on, okay? That will help you work through different situations. The ability to work with people with diverse backgrounds, not just within your nursing education, but once you go into your career, you're going to work with people from all over the world, all kinds of backgrounds, all different kinds of understandings and expectations of things. And so you need to be really receptive and flexible and able to work with all different kinds of people. Maybe it's not just a coworker, your patients are also going to have all different kinds of backgrounds, right? And so never make an assumption just by looking at somebody what their history is or what their background is. Okay? You need to have really high personal, moral, and ethical standards. Nursing is one of the most trusted professions, and that's something that we hold in very high regard, okay? People trust us. And so if we're not honest with ourselves and others, then that breaches that trust, right? So these high morals and ethical standards that personally are intrinsic to you are really important in being a nurse. You need to have an excellent and compassionate, caring attitude, okay? Sometimes you're going to have situations that you just immediately connect with a patient or their family and you immediately feel empathetic to their situation. Sometimes you're going to have situations that just don't make sense to you. Let's say you have a patient that's 102 years old whose body is failing them, right? But the patient signed a do not resuscitate order because they're at a time in their life where they realize that they are very near death, just chronologically, right? And let's say that they have a heart attack and they become essentially very comatose, right? That DNR often indicates what that patient would want to have done in that situation regarding their care. But let's say that you have a family member that just says, no, I want absolutely everything done. I want you to put in every kind of feeding tube, do every kind of everything that can be done. I want my loved one to come back to life, right? Sometimes you look at that situation analytically and you think that doesn't reflect the situation clinically with the patient, and that also doesn't reflect the patient's wishes. So you have to approach that situation with a really compassionate, caring attitude, right? Acknowledging the feelings of the family member, being respectful to that person, but also advocating for what your patient has wanted. And sometimes that can be a little bit of a challenge. Before we move on, are there any questions? I've been trying to kind of watch the chat, but are there any questions that I can quickly answer for any of that information? Okay. Yes, Tanya.
So I have a question about the deadline that you said. It's basically tomorrow for the titer, but I got an email yesterday saying that the booster was rejected because I didn't have a second one. Is that going to be an issue or not?
So we'll talk about that at the end of today. Okay. So any compliance related questions we'll talk about in a little bit so that we can answer everybody's questions. So Kathy, any questions you have about clinical student we'll answer towards the end. Okay. Crystal, what's your question? Okay. Rachel, yes, this is being recorded, so you'll be able to watch the recording with the PowerPoint. Okay. All right, let's move into our attendance policy. Crystal, I couldn't hear you if you were trying to share that. Rachel, we'll make sure that we announce where this is posted. Okay. It's likely going to be posted probably on Blackboard in a place for you to be able to see it. Okay. So let's go over our attendance policy. Attendance is mandatory for all synchronous sessions, meaning whether it is an in-person session in a classroom or an online session that's required, attendance is mandatory. Students cannot miss more than 15% of the required hours for a course, okay? If that is an excused absence or an unexcused absence, you cannot miss more than 15% of the required hours for a course. And this is because when we graduate you at the end of the program, we're signing off on your degree. And part of that also states that you have met the minimum number of hours required for this degree. Okay. So if you miss all of your clinicals, we can't say that you've gotten the education that you should have had. Okay. Same thing going on with any of your lecture courses, right? If you miss too much of your lecture course, we can't say that you've gotten the education that you should have had. Okay. Now, the difference between the traditional track and the accelerated track when it comes to your lecture courses is for traditional students, your lecture courses are on-site, not online. They are in person, and you'll be coming to campus and going into the classroom for those courses. Okay. For the accelerated track, those courses will be online in largely kind of a self-paced format. If you have a synchronous session with an instructor, it's not a mandatory session for you to attend. Both tracks will have mandatory attendance for all clinical, simulation, and skills classes. Okay. If you are absent from class, there are a few exceptions that are considered an unexcused absence by the university. University-sponsored events, if you were in a, let's say you were in athletics, right? You're on the basketball team and you had a game, that would be considered an unexcused absence. Legal obligations, if you were serving on a jury or something like that. Religious observances, personal illness, or death in the immediate family. Okay. Any absence for reasons other than those listed above will be considered as excused. But again, both excused and unexcused absences cannot exceed more than 15% of your required course hours. Otherwise, you will not be academically successful in passing that course. Okay. During ABSN, there are some short breaks, and we'll talk about that. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about this hierarchy here, right? This is very reflective of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, as you guys might have seen before. But succeeding in nursing school really follows a lot of this, right? Physiological. If you have a concern about the most basic of needs for a student, breathing, food, water, sleep, homeostasis, excretion, sex, those things, right? If you are not able to meet those basic physiological elements of life, oftentimes we see students struggle, right? How can you be successful in a course if you haven't eaten in 2 days and you're really hungry, or you haven't slept because something happened and you were up all night, right? These kinds of things are very foundational to you being able to be in a mentality of being successful. From there, up above that, it's safety, right? Security of your body, employment, resources, morality, family, health, property, right? If you are not feeling safe, again, that impacts your ability to be receptive and successful, okay? Because you are more concerned about your safety than you are being present to learn. Love and belonging, friendship, family, intimacy, right? It's very hard to go through this program without a support system. Now, I know some of you are maybe relocating from other places. You don't know a lot of people here yet. I encourage you to make friends with your classmates. These are the people that are going to be walking through this exact same experience with you and will be the greatest support to you. Okay? Your esteem, right? Your confidence, your achievements, your respect of others, your respect by others, your self-esteem, right? Sometimes we all wake up and we are just not having a day where we are really feeling ourselves, right? We are not feeling confident about anything. We are questioning everything. Well, when you're not feeling very confident, right? Sometimes that holds you back from learning. Let's say you're in class and you have a question, right? But you're not feeling confident about that question, so you don't ask the question. Well, then you've just lost a learning opportunity, right? So feeling confident. And then at the top of the hierarchy is this self-actualization, right? This morality, creativity, spontaneity, problem solving, lack of prejudice, acceptance of fact, right? All of these things come together to really kind of like peak your ability to learn, okay? This is a very fluid pyramid. You're gonna go up and down on this throughout your life, right? Sometimes on the daily, sometimes there's a season of things, right? But this pyramid is really kind of just a structural visual tool for you to kind of identify, hey, I am not in the best place right now. I am not feeling safe. I am not feeling like I have a support system, right? All of those things are important to being able to be successful. Yes, Crystal. I can't hear you if you're trying to ask me a question. You can put it in the chat though, if that's easier. All right. We are moving ahead of schedule pretty quickly. Okay. That's understandable, Crystal. Sometimes I hit that hand up button and yeah, it's an accident, right? So we are moving ahead of schedule a little bit. Would you guys rather take a break now or keep going?
I'm down to keep going.
Keep going. I'm getting a lot of keep goings. All right. So we might have to move around a little bit in the agenda just because I think some of the next people who are up to talk to us may not be on yet. Okay. So the next people I was going to have talk to you would be Anne-Marie Shaver and Megan Fuller. They are our success and academic support. And I see Anne-Marie is here. Anne-Marie, are you free to hop in and just kind of introduce yourself?
Sure. Give me 1 second. Turn this on. I'm crazy. I have great lighting. I just want to share that for you. But hi, I'm Anne-Marie Shaver. I'm an academic planner in Student Central for the traditional students. And in addition to all the great resources and things that Professor Ward has outlined for you, I'm primarily here to help, once you're in the nursing program, get you connected with resources. So things like tutoring or counseling or the campus ministry team, something like that, I can definitely help you get connected. If you have questions about how things are displaying in degree works or having issues with my info, I can also help with that. Or if you have questions about registering for any of your remaining prerequisite classes like leadership or religion, you can come to me for that as well. But I'm excited to support you as you continue on your Concordia journey.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. So for the ABSN track, the success coaches are actually going to be joining us, if they're able to, a little bit later. But the ABSN track just got a couple of additional success coaches. The success track or the success team in Austin for ABSN will be with Tina, and the success team in DFW for ABSN will be Nick. Okay, so if they hop on a little bit later, since we're ahead of schedule, I'll try to have them introduce themselves. But your success team is really a person who can help, like Anne-Marie said, get you linked to resources on campus. They're a partner in your success, right? So they can help you if you have a question, you need to be pointed in the right direction. They can help you learn about available resources and how to use them effectively. They can help you with time management and study strategies, talk about your goals and strengths, to seek guidance if you're struggling in a class, to problem solve or brainstorm a solution for a challenge you're experiencing, right? They can help you register for a co-requisite course, so something outside of nursing, like life and leadership, leadership theory and practice, medical Spanish. If you haven't completed those requirements yet, they'll be the people that help you with that. I am primarily responsible for registering you in nursing related courses. So those courses that are outside of nursing that you may need to catch up on would be something that these guys would help you with. Sometimes they're just people that are really great to just take a quick break with, chat, vent, just be like, oh my gosh, nursing is so much harder than I thought it was going to be. Or, you know, I'm just really struggling. I have a lot going on in my family life. I can't keep my head in the game. They can be an additional support and help find additional support for you if you need it. And they're always ready to help you celebrate your accomplishments. We are all excited to see how successful you're going to be. And your success coaches love to hear from you when you're like, I just had the most amazing clinical experience ever, right? I just think that this is just like the best thing that has ever happened to me, right? They so want to hear about those exciting moments in your nursing career and in your nursing education. So that's what our success team really helps with. Now moving on next, I want to double check and see. Okay, so Rich Cash is not here yet, but he is our representative with the bookstore. And so he's going to talk about the textbook program here in a little bit. So hopefully we can get Rich on here before too long. But we'll go ahead and move on and talk about what the fall semester looks like. Okay. This is your spring 2022 semester schedule. Okay. Your semester is a 16-week long semester. All of your classes are 16 weeks long. And I've tried to highlight here the kind of important dates for you to be aware of for the spring semester. So the second Monday that we have class, the 17th, is MLK Day. So that day will be observed. There will not be class that day. Okay. The 8th week of the semester is the halfway point. That's going to be your midterm week. If you have a midterm in a class or a midterm review or evaluation, that's going to be about the time that's going to happen. In the second half of the semester, we have spring break. Spring break is the 13th through the 18th. There are no, yes, this is the same for both TRAD and ABSN. Okay, we are one program, just with kind of two different tracks, but we have the same curriculum for both tracks. So we space out the breaks the same way for both tracks. But spring break is the 14th through the 18th. Anticipated that there would be no classes there, but if you were to have, let's say, a weekend clinical on Saturdays or Sundays, that clinical is still in play. So you could have a clinical immediately before and immediately after that spring break of Monday through Friday. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We have an Easter holiday break that comes towards the middle of April. Okay, and so we recognize Easter, Good Friday. You have a little bit of reprieve from there. Although it may not be important to you yet, unless you know somebody who's graduating in this spring semester, spring commencement is April 23rd. And then we have the end of term official graduation date and finals week in that last week. And yes, commencement, where you go through what a lot of people think of as graduation, the ceremony of graduation, is before finals week, which is always a little bit confusing, but that's just really how the timing of things work out. So our graduating seniors will have commencement, and then they will come back and they will finish their finals. And then the official graduation date, the date where the semester officially ends, and your courses and your grades for those courses are plotted into your transcript, will be May 1st. Let's talk a little bit about what the fall semester will look like. For your lecture courses, your theory didactic courses, for ABSN students, they will be fully online with faculty facilitated modules. Brandon, we have a pinning ceremony instead of a white coat ceremony, and we'll talk to you more about that when you enter your S2 semester. But yes, as part of our program, we do have a pinning ceremony, which is a little bit more of a more intimate ceremony just for the nursing program, where we recognize you as a graduating senior having completed your coursework. So again, we'll talk about that more when you hit your S2 semester, but just so you know, we do have a pinning ceremony. May 1st is not always a set date, okay? The academic calendar will change year to year. So those are the dates for this spring semester. We'll talk about schedules a little bit later down when we get to the end probably of this slide, okay? So your fall semester for ABSN students, again, you're going to be fully online with faculty facilitated modules. You may have some faculty that have synchronous sessions, but those are not mandatory that you attend because you're in the accelerated track. You have a bit more of an independent type format for how you complete your lecture courses, okay? And what the TRAD students will have their lecture courses fully on site. Now, I really want to explain what these courses look like, because prior to nursing, you probably have attended class and had some sort of lecture. Your professor's up there, they're teaching you about US history, or you're up there and you're learning math, or you're discussing how to write a paper, right? Nursing is really different. And so instead of reviewing content that you were assigned in your readings, we are much more likely to give you a case study and ask you to start working on the application of what you read prior to coming to class, okay? So our instructors are not likely to stand up there and really lecture through a disease process that you just read about. They're going to say, here's a patient situation, let's talk our way through this so that you learn how to apply that information. Our lecture courses are focused on the application of information, not teaching you things that you should have read before coming to class, or going over things that you should have learned in previous courses, like anatomy and physiology. You've taken at least one, probably 2 semesters of that class. And so we expect you to come into the program with a really strong understanding of anatomy and physiology. Okay. Your exams will be fully on site at your campus. You will need to bring your laptops for your exams. Okay, you do need to have a laptop for this program, and the requirements of kind of the parameters of what you'll need for laptops are in the student handbook. And so if you're a traditional student, you will take your exams during a class, like your regular class time. If you're an accelerated student, you will be assigned a day and time that you come in for testing. Okay. Your simulation and skills classes. Your simulation class will be located either at main campus here, Echelon, or your DFW campus per your course schedule. All DFW classes will be up in DFW. We won't ask you to come to Austin for any classes, but I just wanted to put that in there. Okay. Skills classes will be on site at Echelon or DFW. Excuse me, for the spring semester, we will not have skills class on main campus. For traditional students, it'll be at the Echelon campus. But we will have open lab, which is like a lab you can come in and practice at all 3 campuses. To answer a few questions, every semester the breaks between the semesters vary. So I don't know right off the top of my head if we have a small break in between spring and summer. You can look on the academic calendar that can be found on the concordia.edu website for that information. All semesters have some kind of simulation experience. Right now, you have formal simulation courses in your J1, J2, and S1 semesters. S2, your simulation courses change a little bit. Simulations can be in person in the classroom, but you also have some virtual learning that are simulations as well. Mac laptops can be used in this program, and they will have to meet the requirements. I will say most students that have Macs, Macs just seem to be a little bit fussier sometimes, but it's definitely doable. You might just have a little bit more need for troubleshooting with IT at times. A lot of people use Macs and have no problem, but from what I've noticed, sometimes they're a little bit finickier, especially with iOS updates and how they affect some of our software. Okay, the Echelon campus is the one off of 183 South and 360 Mopac, kind of on the southbound frontage road of 183 between 360 and Mopac. Okay. Your clinical facility rotations are going to be scheduled per the facility, and they will be in person. Okay. For your J1 semester, you will go to clinical 1 day a week, and the day and time of your clinical, it could be any day of the week, including the weekends. And you'll either have a morning shift, which is about 6:30 to 2:30, or an evening shift, which is about 2:30 to 10:30. Okay. The days, the locations, and the times of your shifts for clinicals throughout our program are assigned to you. You do not get to have influence over what those are. And that's just because it's too complex to try to take into account personal requests for things. Okay. We do not yet have a final time frame on when your first day of clinical will be. Those clinical schedules, and this really speaks for every semester, clinical schedules are some of the last things that sometimes get nailed down. We try to get this information out to you as soon as we can, but sometimes there are changes last minute. And so it's possible that you won't know your clinical schedule even up until the first day of class. Okay. You will have simulation 1 day a week. Okay. Morning clinicals are from about 6:30 to 2:30, and evening clinicals are about from 2:30 to 10:30. Okay. Great. Let's talk a little bit about studying for nursing courses. Open Lab is just a walk-in. You don't have to sign up ahead of time. Yes, Kathy.
So if we won't get the schedule for the couple clinicals the day of, does that count against us?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no. We can't expect you to be somewhere until we've told you where to be, right? But clinical schedules are some of the last times, last kind of schedule to usually come together. So it's possible that you won't know what that is until the first week of the program. But as J1 students, you're not going to have clinicals in your very first week, okay? Simulation hours, your simulation classes are going to be scheduled for you. They could be morning, midday, or afternoon. Typically, you will not have an actual class start before 8 in the morning or end after later in the evening, okay? Clinicals are probably the classes that have the earliest and latest hours. Sarah, I see you have your hand up.
Yes. So I have a question. So I'm a officer candidate. Candidate. I'm an officer candidate for the military, and I'll be having to go to school for 1 week in a month. If my rotations overlap with that, can I change the rotation day, or how can I do that?
That's a great question. So we do have a lot of students who are in the military, National Guard, Reserve, some version of that. So if you have formal orders, you need to email those to us and we'll work around those as best as we can.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Amanda.
My question's regarding the clinicals, and is that something that changes throughout the 16-week course, or once you have your clinical schedule, that is what you are going to be using for the 16 weeks?
So for the 16 weeks, unless something happens, right? Something could happen to your instructor, God forbid, but something could happen, right? Unless something happens, the schedule you get at the beginning of the semester should be the schedule that you have for the remainder of the semester. Okay. Your clinical days won't rotate on you throughout the semester. Now, just so that everybody is aware, clinicals between J1, J2, S1, and S2 are going to be different. It's not necessarily going to be the same shift, the same day of the week, and you're going to have semesters where you have more than one clinical a week. Okay. And we'll talk about that more when you get to those semesters. Rachel, I see that you have a question.
Yeah, mine was kind of similar to the last one. Just wanted to clarify. So when we do receive our clinical schedule, even if it's not till the first day of class, it outlines what days we will have clinicals for the rest of the semester, ideally.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Awesome.
Yes.
Just want to make sure.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so let's talk a little bit about studying for nursing courses. I mentioned this earlier, but studying for nursing courses is a lot different than studying for anything else that you've previously done. You really want to study for understanding. There is absolutely 100% no way that you can memorize everything in your textbook. And even if you could, let's say that you have a photographic memory, right, which would be super helpful. Even if you did have a photographic memory, medicine changes all the time, okay? So the reason we tell you to study for understanding and to not try to memorize everything is because, again, diabetes, while being largely the same disease process of how your body doesn't process blood sugars the way that it should, is going to look very different on two different people, okay? So it's really not a linear thing that you can memorize and regurgitate information like other disciplines may be, okay? Your J1 courses really form a foundation for the nursing program. They really set the framework for you to be able to be successful by really giving you that core amount of knowledge, okay? Your nursing courses are going to build on content from previous courses and current courses, okay? All of your classes are designed to kind of work together synchronously. So you should be learning about information that will layer together well between your classes, okay? And so it's really important that you understand the content from your classes, because that will help you understand the content in your other classes. We don't want you to cram, okay? Cramming is a pretty unsuccessful method of studying in nursing, Okay, you want to study in small amounts on most days of the week, because that's really what's going to help you retain the information. Okay, the night before an exam, the night before a skills checkoff, that is not the time to try to learn everything. Okay, you are going to be fish out of water if that is what is happening. Okay, you really want to make sure that you're taking this on in small bits. Okay, the day before an exam or a skills checkoff, I want you to go to bed at a reasonable time. I want you to make sure that you eat breakfast that morning, right? And that you eat lunch. I want to make sure that you are well rested, because if you are tired, if you are hungry, if you have not met those basic physiological needs that we talked about, students often reflect that in their academics, and they do poorly on some things. Okay. Now, we want you to fully use your available resources. Your resources include your faculty, tutoring, your textbooks, your online resources. Okay, use all of those resources. If you are struggling with something, don't try to figure it out on your own. Go to your faculty, find a tutor. Come to me if you're unsuccessful in getting in touch with your faculty or a tutor. I'm more than happy to help you work through things. Okay, but students that are academically unsuccessful are often students who have not utilized all of their resources. If you are struggling in a class, do not wait to get help. The longer you wait to get help, the harder it is for you to catch up. Remember, all of this content layers on one another. Okay. So to answer your question, psych is not a formal class that we have in our program. We have woven psych throughout the program. Reason being, sometimes there are people that need to go into a mental health facility strictly for mental health reasons. But a lot of times you'll also have some people, or not necessarily the same people, right? But you'll have patients that are in the hospital for a physiological reason that also have mental health issues. And you need to learn how to balance both. Okay. So we don't have, while we may study schizophrenia, it'll be part of a theory course for med-surg. Okay. Because you may have a schizophrenic patient that also just had their gallbladder taken out, or is in liver failure, or has really dreadful diabetes, right? So we want to teach you how to work with those dynamics together, and we don't have a separate mental health or psych course. But you'll get the content. Any questions so far? Okay, let's see here. All right, moving on. Skills. Let's talk about your skills class. Okay, what is skills? Skills are those nursing interventions that we teach you for how to do things to a person to help provide safe patient care, right? So that could be how to take vital signs, how to do a physical assessment, how to administer medications, how to start an IV, how to put in a Foley catheter, how to provide trach care, how to put in an NG tube, right? All of these are skills that you're going to learn throughout our program. Your skills class will be at your respective campus. So if you're in Austin, it'll be the Echelon campus. And if you're in DFW, it'll be at the campus up there. During your J1 semester, the skills that you will learn primarily and will be checked off on will be AIDIT, which is how you introduce yourself to a patient. It's an acronym. Vital signs, your physical assessment. I cannot stress enough how important a good physical assessment can be to your patient's condition. You'll learn how to administer oral, subcutaneous, and intramuscular medications. Okay, and then you'll also learn how to put in Foley catheters. Those are going to be the skills that you are checked off on, the ones that you probably have the most hands-on practice with. However, you're going to learn concepts about wound care and other safety elements regarding providing care for somebody. that are not formal checkoffs, but are part of your skills course. Okay. How do you practice skills? You're going to practice skills in your skills classes. You're going to have time to not only learn, but also do practice in your skills classes along with Open Lab. Open Lab, again, is just independent study time where you can come into the lab and continue to practice. Simulation. Let's talk about what is simulation. Simulation is the course that you go through that really is kind of, I think, one of the most fun courses that you guys get to have. You will work with our high fidelity mannequins, and you will be treating the patient situation, right? So whether it's a post-op patient, a patient with a UTI, somebody with a hip fracture, somebody with borderline personality disorder, right? You will be going in and practicing how to give care as a team, how to take vital signs, how to do an assessment, how to administer medications, how to talk to your patients, okay? So all of that kind of thing happens in simulation class. Your simulation class will be at the same campus that you have skills at if you're in DFW. If you're in Austin, ABSN students will have simulation at the Echelon campus, and trad students will also have simulation at the Echelon campus. So how does simulation fit in with your clinical course? Simulation is like a environment where you get to learn things without the potential of harming a patient, right? Because your patient is a mannequin, so you can't really harm them, right? But you can learn your techniques, you can practice your methods in this kind of no harm environment. But what you learn in your simulation class directly impacts how you go into your clinical class, right? If you've learned how to take vital signs between skills and simulation, then you'll be more prepared to go in and take vital signs when you come to your clinical course, right? When you learn how to talk to a patient in your simulation class, that will help you know how to talk to a patient in your clinical course, okay? If you made a mistake administering medications in your simulation class, that's a mistake you will likely remember going into your clinical course and won't make again. Does that make sense? Skills is once a week, okay? Clinicals is once a week. Simulation is once a week for this semester. Let's talk about your clinicals. What are clinicals, right? Clinicals are when you get to go into the patient care environment. You go with a group of students and an instructor, and you'll go into an environment that really kind of just is a variety of patient care opportunities. It could be a rehab, it could be long-term care, it could be acute care, right? Could be in any one of those environments. Again, you'll know your schedule towards the very beginning of the semester. Hopefully within that first week, we'll have it all finalized for you at the latest. And your clinical compliance requirements. You have your annual compliance requirements, things that come up every year or two for renewal. So annual requirements would be things like TB, flu vaccines, right? Every couple of years, your CPR might need to be renewed, okay? So those would be annual compliance things. It is your responsibility to make sure that in clinical student, your annual compliance requirements are met prior to going into the clinical environment. And what I mean by that is you should not have your TB expired and then go to clinicals. If you go to clinicals with an expired compliance requirement, you will fail that clinical course. That is an automatic course failure, okay? Clinical student will remind you if you have something that's upcoming to expire, and we will also do our best to try to remind you as well, but that is your responsibility. The COVID vaccine requirement at this point in time, you are all aware of it, okay? That hasn't changed at all. We do not have any additional information about if boosters are going to be required in the future or anything like that. So I just want to kind of head that question off right now, okay? Because the COVID vaccine requirement is currently that you have been achieved a fully vaccinated status, okay? To answer your questions, skills and simulation class may be in the same day or it may be 2 separate days. We try to consolidate things as much as we can because we do understand that your time is valuable, but sometimes we cannot make the schedules work that way. Okay. If you work at a hospital that you have clinicals happen or that you go to clinical for, well, cool. Then you already kind of know where you are and you know where other things are, and that may be of help to you and your classmates and your instructor. But the way you work in a hospital or rehab environment as an employee is different than the experience that you're going to have as a student, right? If you work as a tech in a hospital, then you can't administer medications, right? But if you're there as a student and it's your turn to administer medications with your instructor, then that's something that you're going to be able to do, okay? So the roles are very different between being an employee and a student, but it is possible that you may wind up in the same environment. Okay? There's no problem if you guys want to pursue getting a COVID vaccine booster, you absolutely can. That's not a problem. I'm just saying at this point in time, we have not had a requirement for a COVID vaccine booster. Again, clinical compliance requirements are set by our healthcare partners, okay? And that's what forms the compliance requirements that we have as a program. So let's talk a little bit about those compliance requirements, because I know that all of you have been anxiously patient, but have a lot of questions about clinical compliance requirements, okay? So I'm gonna actually stop sharing my screen for just a few minutes, and Dr. Shamus and I are gonna do the best we can to answer your questions. I want to emphasize, okay, that we are going to answer questions largely generally. If you have a very specific circumstance, again, we will handle that on an individual basis, because what I don't want to do is be discussing your individual healthcare requirements in a group. Okay, I'm going to be respectful of that. Okay, so we'll talk about them largely in general, but I think that that will help facilitate answering your questions. I just want to make sure that I am really respectful of your own personal healthcare. And so I don't want to be discussing just everything, okay? So when it comes to compliance requirements, we're going to run through several topics. Let's start with your blue card, okay? Your fingerprinting, your blue card. I know that some of you have gotten your fingerprints done and they've been sent off to the Board of Nursing and you haven't heard anything. You haven't gotten your blue card in the mail, you haven't a letter of clearance, you haven't gotten a declaratory letter from the Board of Nursing, none of that, okay? You're just sort of in this waiting phase. Okay? Unfortunately, that's not something that we have the influence to change. Okay? We can't hurry the Board of Nursing along. We can't always track down where in the process they are with your blue card or your letter of clearance or whatever it may be. Okay, that's a really kind of external process to anything that we can be involved in. Again, the reason that we want to have your blue card or a letter from the Board of Nursing on file when you start the program is there's no point in starting a program if you're not eligible for licensure. Okay. Leslie, I see that you have your hand up.
Yes. What if we received an email from them stating that it's on the way, like your blue card? Would that be accepted?
So
Okay,
we
perfect.
do not.
So yeah, the Board of Nursing requirement for the nursing program is the blue card and or letter on file with the school. Okay.
And that'll be by tomorrow, correct?
Yes. And if you have specific questions, you can always, this is Dr. Shamus, you can always email me, okay? And I'll work,
Mm-hmm.
work if there's, some sort of circumstance that you want to talk about offline too, okay?
Okay, thank you.
So your blue card has to have been issued to you since you were rostered with our program. You cannot use a blue card from being rostered with a previous nursing school, and it has to be within this last year. Michelle, I see that you have your hand up.
Yeah, so my situation's kind of like weird. So they told me they sent a replacement because I never received my first one. I still haven't got it. I actually even called them this morning and they stated that they really recommend the school to contact them in regards to that because I have been cleared since the 18th of October.
Okay. So in that case, that would be something to reach out to myself or Dr. Shamus or about so that we can try to follow up on that.
Okay.
Okay. Sophia, I see your hand is up. All right. Sophia, if you're trying to ask me a question, I can't hear you. You do not have to get a new blue card every semester or year. Once we have your blue card on file, then that maintains throughout the program unless you were needing to be deferred or potentially readmitted to another cohort and that blue card has expired, meaning that it was over a year old by the time you rejoined the program. And Cambria, that's right. They look real generic, y'all. It is literally like a blue postcard that looks like spam. Easy to throw out. So nothing particularly like fancy looking about it. So yes, you will upload your blue card through, it actually doesn't go through clinical student. You got an email towards the beginning of your admission with a link to upload your blue card. And if you can't find that email or that link, please reach out to your admissions counselor. Okay. Emily.
Hi, sorry, I was gonna text it. So since you said the blue card is only good for a year and it expires, for the ABSN program, because it's 16 months, do we have to reapply or it covers the whole program?
So if you are in the program and an active student, the whole time that you're in the program, then that blue card will cover you. But if for some reason you take a break in the program, then you may need to get a new blue card.
Okay, just double checking on the wording. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Sophia, I see that your hand is raised. Sophia, I can't hear your question if you're trying to ask one. You can drop it in the chat though. Kathy, what's your question?
Thank you. On my clinical student, it's telling me that the item requires the TB test, vaccination, influenza, BSL, criminal background screen are reviewed and approved, but I guess they want it approved on the 10th, which is tomorrow, but my TB, and I'm not trying to, I don't mind sharing this. My TB is actually not due until January the 5th. So which way do you want me to go? Do you want me to go get it tomorrow and have it submitted, or wait till January the 1st? I mean, January the 5th.
Okay, so we'll talk about TB in a second, but to give you a quick answer, if it is one of those annual compliance requirements like TB, then if your TB covers you through the beginning of January and that's been uploaded to clinical student, then if that's been accepted in clinical student, you are fine. But you would have to get that renewed prior to its expiration date. Okay. Okay, let's see. If you have an admissions counselor that will be out or you're not receiving any ABSN related emails, please send me an email so that I can work on this. Okay. And I really am very sorry if I say your name incorrectly. Asiatu? I probably didn't say that right. I'm so sorry.
I said true. Yeah, that's fine. And I didn't know if I understood you. Did you say that we need both like the blue card and a letter from Bond, or only the blue card?
No. So some of you, most of you will get a blue card. Some of you will get a letter. If there's maybe a little bit more complex of a situation, you might have a letter. We just need whatever it is that the Board of Nursing issues uploaded by tomorrow. If for some reason that you have outstanding compliance requirements that are not uploaded by tomorrow, we will be reaching out to you individually with next steps. I just want to reassure everybody.
Okay, thank
you. Okay. Samuel. Samuel, if you're trying to ask your question, I can't hear you. All right. Do you have to register for J1 classes? No, you do not. We register you for your classes while you're in the nursing program. Okay. Mary.
So I got a disc of my chest x-ray, but they said you can only open it using like a medical system. Do you guys want me to give you that disc, or do you want me to try to find a way to open it?
We would need your chest x-ray results. So the report with the result is what we need.
Yeah, so I sent that in to you guys and you guys rejected it and you guys asked me for the picture. And so
okay, so send an email to me and we'll work on that.
Okay.
Okay. Sophia.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Professor Ward. Yeah, we've been in communication in regards to my infamous letter. I just think that the BON is having a general shortage of staff, but I was told that my letter from last year is still valid by the Texas BON. Do you guys accept that? And I emailed it to you earlier, but obviously you've been very busy this morning. So
sorry, yeah.
No, I understand.
So the Board of Nursing has kind of it gets a little confusing, right? And I'm trying to answer questions most specifically about blue cards right now because we're going to dig into each one of these compliance requirements. Okay. So if you have received,
Sophia, if you've already emailed us, then we'll work through it. Okay. Because it's without seeing it, it's kind of hard to answer that type of specific question. But if you've emailed us and provide us the information, then we'll get back with you. Okay.
Yeah, but this is just the letter. So maybe someone else had that same question. It's the same. It's just a letter it's the same letter that someone will receive, but it's from last year. It was first mentioned that because it was expired after 1 year, but the supervisor, Texas BON, emailed me this morning that it's still valid and they're processing my new letter. So I just brought it up again just to make sure if else had that same issue, and also to make sure that, I've stated my own, because that's the only thing that I'm missing.
Okay. Well, if you've emailed us, Sophia, we'll get back with you. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the next compliance piece that I want to talk about. If you have gotten your fingerprints done, right, but they're not showing up in the system, again, that's something that you need to email us about so we can try to follow up. Okay. All right. Now, immunizations. I know a lot of you have had some last minute changes regarding your hepatitis B. Okay. And I apologize if some of that has caught you off guard. We're trying really hard to meet the compliance requirements of our clinical partners. And I'll be really straightforward. Our clinical partners reserve the right to change their compliance requirements at any point in time. Okay? Meaning that if, in 2 weeks, they say everybody has to be vaccinated for the purple mumps disease, right? Then we have to figure out a way to make that happen, right? I just made that up, y'all. That is not an actual thing. I hope you know that. But, if they say you can't come into our clinical environment if you haven't been vaccinated for this, that's a compliance requirement that we have to follow, okay? So I realize that sometimes makes for last minute changes that can be complicated for you guys. It's complicated for us as well. So I just want you to know that for those of you that are struggling with Hep B, we are well aware. So what I will say, some of you I've already answered specifically about your Hep B requirement. Generally, if you have all of your documentation available to you, uploaded by the 10th, we are going to reach out to you if there is some sort of compliance requirement that has not been met, to give you guidance on next steps or to figure out where you're at in the process. I know some of you have had to get titers and need repeat boosters, and we're going to work with you on those deadlines to make sure that we're giving everybody the strongest chance possible of meeting the compliance requirements needed to get you in for the spring semester start. Okay, so when it comes to your vaccine requirements, especially Hep B, because it's kind of a complicated process involving titers and maybe booster vaccines. A booster vaccine can be any of the hepatitis B vaccines, okay? There isn't like a specific hepatitis B booster. And some providers say you'll only need 1 booster. Some providers will say you need 2. Some providers will say you need 3, right? There's no standard of what a hepatitis B booster is. And that leads to probably more confusion for everybody because people are hearing different things from different people. And so just to kind of reemphasize, there's no set standard by like the CDC or anybody of what a hepatitis B booster is. There's no standard set as to how many boosters you may have. But what I can tell you is that titers need to be drawn 30 days after vaccination, okay? If you draw a titer prior to that, it's possible that that vaccine hasn't had enough time to build that immunity in your body, okay? So the standard is that titers are drawn 30 days after vaccination. Please upload any negative titers that you might have had for Hep B to clinical student. And it's only after you can upload a negative titer that you can then go in and upload a booster. If you try to upload a booster and then a titer, it won't work. So you need to upload the negative titer first and then have the booster uploaded. And again, if everything isn't uploaded by the 10th and cleared in clinical student, we're going to review all that information and we'll be reaching out to all of you with further instructions. We realize that everybody may be in a slightly different place regarding where they are with Hep B. All right, yes ma'am, your question.
Yes, I have a question about that. I took the vaccine. The name of it was the I don't know, the Hep vaccine. The second option. And I know you told me in an email that I needed a titer for that. But when I submitted the 2 vaccines, it said like complete in clinical student. It is already complete over there. It doesn't say that I need a booster.
Yes, so if you are showing as complete in clinical student, the Hep B series for some reason is a little bit different. If you are showing completed in clinical student with your Hep B requirement, there is nothing more you need to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The deadline for uploading information is tomorrow the 10th. Okay. And if you have sent me an email about things, I'm going to respond to your emails as soon as I can. I'm going to aim to do as much of that today as I can. working on that tomorrow as well. Again, I apologize if it's been more than 48 hours. I think I'm caught up from all of my Monday emails. I'm halfway through my Tuesday emails. I'm trying to stay caught up with my current emails. So if you sent me an email, we're going to continue to work through things. But I just want to be really reassuring to you guys that we realize that a lot of these things are kind of strange, pretty unfamiliar to you. You're welcome. Pretty unfamiliar to you, and that they can change on the dime. Okay, that's just healthcare. Healthcare changes in a minute. You guys remember in like March of 2020, the entire country shut down in like a week, right? COVID hit and everything changed, right? That is how fast, in a global perspective, things absolutely can change. Okay, so we are trying to manage these changes right along with you guys as much as we can, and we realize that everybody's in a slightly different place. So if you're confused and it's taking us some time to get back to you, it may be because we are also seeking answers for things. We want to give you the best guidance we can. Okay. When it comes to your TB test, your TB is also one that has possibly several different steps. Okay. If you are getting the skin test for TB, then that is a multiple step process. Okay. You have to get the PPD antigen injected under your skin. You have to get the results read a couple of days later. Then you have to get a second one done. Okay. And then a few days after that one's done, you'll need to have that read. Okay. And you have to do the second round of TB testing 7 to 21 days after the first round of testing. Okay. And if you have a positive result, then you're referred for a chest x-ray. Now, some people, largely people that were born outside of the United States, have been vaccinated for TB. So they are always going to be positive on this skin test. That's just the nature of how that vaccine reflects. Okay, so we may need a chest x-ray result saying that your chest x-ray is negative for TB. Okay, you can also do what's called a quantiferon gold. It's a lab draw, it's a blood draw, and that's just a lot faster than the two-step test. They draw your blood, they send it to the lab reads it and says, you don't have TB. And then you submit that result to clinical student, okay? So it's the fastest version of doing things. Again, TB is an annual requirement, so that's one that you have to pay attention to the date on, okay? Amanda, I see you have a question. Okay. Your microphone isn't working, okay? Okay, let's see. Your microphone isn't working. I'm gonna answer a couple of questions. Then Rich Cash with the bookstore has just hopped in. So I'm gonna let him present for a few minutes, talk about the textbook program, and then we're gonna come back to answer any of your remaining questions, okay? Kathy, do we think that we'll ever get back to the norm, or is this gonna be our new norm henceforth? Honestly, I think our version of normal has changed. COVID's never going to go away. Like it's very similar to the flu in the sense that it mutates, right? You keep hearing about all these variants, right? I don't think it's anything that we're going to be able to eradicate very easily because it keeps mutating. So I think there's an element of it that's always going to be present, and the world's just going to be a little bit different because of it. Instead of trying to work around COVID now, we're trying to work with it. And we've learned a lot, so much in this last year and a half about how to treat COVID and the vaccines to work on reducing the likelihood that somebody could get COVID. You know, vaccines are not a cure. Vaccines are tools we use to help protect us, but they don't necessarily prevent us from getting sick. Okay. Sarah, what's your question?
Also, I got a TB skin test yesterday, and we'll get the result tomorrow. So you said I
Mhm.
have to get a second one?
Yep.
Another one?
Yep.
So,
So if you did the skin
mhm.
test, yeah, you'll have to get the second series done.
So if I get the second one done and get the results, do I upload it to clinical or send it to you?
Upload it to clinical student. Okay.
Okay.
I want everything that can be uploaded to clinical student uploaded to clinical student. Y'all know that
Okay.
if you send me something in my email, first of all, I might not see it right away. And second of all, I'm not the one that reviews that and approves or denies whether or not it meets compliance standards.
Okay.
Okay. That's what clinical student is for.
Okay.
Samuel, what's your question?
Good morning. I was curious real quick about the Baylor, Scott, and White. It just says the signature needs to be completed in ink. So I just wanted to clarify that would be the best way to print it out, sign it, and then re-upload it.
That would be ideal, yes.
Okay, yeah. So any type of iPad or electronic written signature, it has to be on paper written.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
To me, that makes it the easiest. That way you know definitively that you've done it, right? You don't have to sit there and go, is an electronic signature going to be accepted, right? So
Perfect.
yeah, to me, that's the easiest thing. And you can use like Genius Scan, Cam Scan, those kinds of things to upload documents. Sometimes that works really well. Ashley, I see your question. You have to complete the paperwork, put images into the Word document. If it won't let you into the document, please email us. I see that your hand is up. Let me answer your question. Y'all, then we're gonna move on and we're gonna let Rich present for a few minutes about the textbook program because that's really important information as well, okay? So Ashley, what's your question, or did we answer it already?
Yeah, it's about the Baylor thing, but where can I go to get the documents it's wanting me to get? If that makes sense.
Those documents should be available to you in Clinical Student.
Let me see.
So when you click on Baylor, Scott, and White.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. When you click on Baylor, Scott, and White, there, I think it's page 1 through 7. When you print them out, that's all the information that you need. At the end where it says you have to upload, I think it was orientation over aided and nursing communication. That's all on a separate link, which you should have completed. It's at the bottom of your clinical student. It's a whole separate page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna let Rich Cash jump in here, do the textbook program, and then we'll resume any compliance questions after that, and then any other questions you have, okay? Rich, welcome to our J1 orientation.
Oh, what?
We
Can you
see
guys
you.
see and hear me? Okay, great.
Yes.
All right. Totally
Can hear
nothing
you.
embarrassing going on here. Oh, can't hear me. Okay.
No, we can hear you. I can hear you. You're
Oh,
there.
you can hear me.
We
Oh,
can. I was not
apologies.
enunciating.
How are you guys doing today? I hope you're all doing very well. I'm here to talk about everyone's favorite part of college, textbooks. All right, so again, here at the bookstore, we manage a very specific book program called the Tornado Textbook Program. If you guys have been attending here in the past, you're already familiar with this, with how books are billed per credit hour and whatnot. However, now that you're a nursing student, your nursing classes work on a different type of program. So instead of being billed by credit hour, instead we just take the total lump sum value of all of your nursing textbooks, and then we break it out by by 4 semesters each. So you just make one payment per semester, and that payment comes out to about $440. Now, if I were to essentially sell you all of the books you would get for your J1 semester up front, you'd be paying over $860 for the entire package. So you're going to save a whole lot of money up front. Now, this does catch up a little later, but keep in mind you are paying for a full bundle purchase by the end of everything. So it keeps your payments more manageable, and it allows you to understand how much you're going to need per term, and it gets you everything that you need per term as well. So to go over what you're going to be getting for your J1 term, of course, you get the absolute most. It's all going to come in one box here for you. You are going to get your Scope and Standards textbook, your Code of Ethics textbook, your course points for pharmacology, clinical nursing skills, your professional nursing textbook, your Foundations of Psychiatric Mental Health textbook, your clinical cases textbook, your med surg textbook, and lastly, your nursing care plans textbook. So that's a lot of books. And you will be using these throughout your entire nursing program. So whatever you do, don't sell them. All the time, we have nursing students come to us at the end of each term saying, hey, I just want to sell the books that I don't think I'm going to need anymore. Well, guess what? You are going to need them. Don't sell them. Don't do that. All right. So outside of textbooks, we also sell all of the nursing supplies and uniform materials you're going to need, most important of which are going to be your patches. On average, nursing students buy 2 patches because they're usually going to have at least 2 pairs of scrubs. Many students buy more than that, so it's up to you. You do need a patch per scrub top. So if you're going to buy 5 scrub tops because you just want to be ready, you're going to need 5 patches. We do sell all of the nursing supplies year round. So if you're ever just in need of more scrubs, more patches, more jackets, any other supplies such as stethoscopes, we're always going to have them available here. And if we're ever just short on a size, we can always order those in. So don't hesitate to check us out. We do sell all of those materials on our website as well. And so long as you're opted in the nursing textbook program, you do get a discount on those as well. So keep that in mind, so help you save more money. Now, outside of that, so as far as textbook distribution, we're still waiting on the opt-out date to pass, which is going to be tomorrow. And then after that, we're just going to wait on the final word from Student Central that all the nursing students are registered. And then afterwards, we'll go ahead and email all of you guys. Oops, sorry. We'll go ahead and send an email blast to all of the nursing students, letting you guys know that textbooks are now available for pickup, or if you need them shipped, we can ship it to you as well. Now, one thing to note about shipping is that we are only going to be able to ship these via FedEx. So if you have a PO box, you'll need to reach out to us. We'll need to make other arrangements with you. The reason we have to send these via FedEx is, of course, this is a very heavy and expensive box. We need to make sure that's insured, and it's also going to require direct signature. So if the FedEx driver gets your home, you're not there, they're going to go and take it to the local FedEx office so that way you can go pick those up. All right, so that's the gist of it for the bookstore, the nursing program. I can also, I don't know if any of the moderators have a link to the bookstore's website, but I can get that to you guys if you need it as well. I saw a few questions come in, so I'm going to answer the ones I can remember, and then we'll go ahead and get to answering some more. So first of all, you don't have to opt into the program. You are automatically opted in. You only have to opt out, but I'll be honest and say that in the past couple of semesters, we haven't had any opt-out. We find that a lot of students really enjoy the program. But if you have any questions, definitely reach out to Student Central. They can answer all the questions you have in regards to billing and opt-in, opt-out procedures. Again, you don't need to opt in. You're automatically opted in. As far as pickup and once we've sent you the email that students are free to do so, just come on in. You don't need to let us know anything else. Just come on by. We'll have the bookstore's operating hours posted on our website, including our seasonal holiday hours as well. So you can just come on by, pick those up. You don't need to mention anything else to us about it. You will only need to email us if you need it shipped, and we'll have a form for you to fill out once we send that email blast. All right. Now, are there any other questions? So change of address through my info. Yes, if you need to change your address, please do so through my info. Do we get ebook versions as well? So some of your books do come in as ebooks already. Those are some of the Lippincott products. Some of them may have certain Evolve access with them. However, textbooks, if you're getting a physical textbook and you need a digital textbook on top of that, that's not already included, that would be a separate purchase. That would be the equivalent of buying basically an extra book. When will they ship out? We're expecting as early as next week, but no later than the end of the month. Again, that's just waiting on registration and then some of our own operating procedures here. We are getting a pretty big rush here soon with the end of the term. Okay. You don't need to order your textbooks. We will just automatically ship those out to you. Okay. All right, so we go ahead. Can anyone tell me how I answer someone who has raised their hand?
I don't know. That's me.
Yeah, you can just call them out by name and then they can lower their own hand if you see them up, or you can click the little
Gotcha.
blue line that says lower hand.
Gotcha. Okay. Amon White, I saw your hand raised just a second ago.
Hi, good morning. So I have
Good
a
morning.
question here. I was unaware that when sending it to a PO box that you send FedEx. So books that I received for my religion courses, well, I never received them. So with that, we have to go in and change it to my info, change the address in my info.
Yes. And if you have any shipping issues, definitely email us directly and we can help you resolve that.
Okay, so I heard you say that the textbook fee, that was a one-time fee. Is that just per semester, or
So
that's
that's
for
going
the
to
whole
be,
time?
that's per semester. So you'll be paying $440 per semester
Okay.
until you finish the nursing program. And if you have to repeat a term, there isn't going to be an extra fee for that. So.
Okay, so I have a friend that graduated from the program here in August that gave me all of her books. So in that case, can I opt out?
So, Iman, I'm going to jump in,
ma'am.
Rich, and speak to that. And the reason I say I would not suggest that is because oftentimes our textbooks update with new editions. And so I would be very cautious about taking somebody who's previously graduated. Sometimes editions change every year. And so we're going to be teaching to the most current edition of the textbooks. So I would, if you want to explore that more closely with Rich, maybe you can, but I recommend that you opt into the textbook program because changes can happen at any point in the program. And I would hate for you to have outdated information.
Yes, ma'am.
I will say as well that your friend who just graduated, when they were a J1, they more than half of their textbooks were different and older editions. We've changed more than half of those at this point, and there's probably going to be continued changes as you guys progress. So I'd be very weary of buying or accepting textbooks from older students at this point.
Okay, thank you both.
By that I mean students who have been through the program already. Okay, Kathy Lacey.
Thank you, Rich. The textbooks that you just showed us out of the box, I have those same ones except the psych. Can you show me that psych again?
Sure. There you go. It's the prettiest one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't have that one. And also, will I need to get the
Did you purchase these on your own?
I purchased them the last time I was in J1. I'm coming back again in J1.
Oh, redoing. Gotcha. So J1's last term, you guys in your box, so the publisher hadn't finished printing all of these, this specific book yet. So in your box, there should have been a card, and I don't think there's an expiration date on that card. That will allow you to redeem a digital version of this textbook, and we'll have the publisher ship you a copy as well, because your payment was already completed for this book. They just need you to fill that out, and then they send you the copy directly.
So then, and also the little digital cards for the numbers for the clinical. You showed us the little digital. I'm sorry. What am I trying to say here?
Yeah, they look like DVD cases. Yeah.
Yeah, those cases with numbers on them. Do I need to have that, right? Updated.
If you got the ones from last term, yours should still be active. You might want to double check with Professor Ward regarding that, but I do think those should still be active for you.
Okay, so I'll check with Professor Ward to see if those are still good for me, and otherwise, then I probably will need to get the packet of books again, correct? I'm just saying I don't want to have to pay for books that I already have that are current and we're going to use.
So if you were already opted in the program and you're retaking a class, like retaking your J1 classes, and you already have the books, you shouldn't have to buy them again. This book again, the J1's last term were given an access card that you just have to fill out on the Elsevier website, and then they ship you this textbook. And that was only because last term this book had just been published and Elsevier was behind their printing date on it. But now they are fully in stock. If you have any other questions regarding repeating courses or repeating course materials, go ahead and send me a direct email. I don't know if a moderator can post my email in chat. You guys can use my Concordia email as well, the rich.cash@concordia.edu. Okay. All right, so Nora Charlton.
Hi, I'm really sorry. My internet kind of broke up, so I just wanted to clarify. I live like over an hour outside of Austin, so do we have to, I didn't hear you or not, do we have to opt in to get them shipped to us, or do they automatically ship to us?
So you're already opted in.
Yes.
You only have to opt out, so you don't need to worry about doing anything else there. And we will go ahead and send you guys an email, a mass email, once we're given clarification that we're good to go ahead and process these for you all. So you'll know to answer to that email whether you want to pick up or have it shipped to you.
Okay, thank you so much. I think I missed that earlier because my internet cut out. Thank you.
Understood. Evelyn Sanchez.
Hi, what are the bookstore's hours for the week of December 20?
December 20th, that is posted on our website. It will take me a second here to pull that up, so I just recommend checking us out. ConcordiaBookstore.com. We have all of our seasonal hours posted there. These are also occasionally subject to change, especially since that is a few weeks out. So definitely check our website before you plan to visit. Okay. Mary T.
Hi, so I just
Mary T,
wanted
number
to make
2.
sure that the 440 goes with our tuition, right? So it's automatically just put into our tuition
Correct.
for
It's
that
just
semester.
billed.
Okay.
Yeah, it's billed direct to you. So, whether you're using financial aid or other programs to pay for it, it's just done. It's simple. You don't really have to do a whole lot extra.
Okay. And I just want to let everyone know I
All
put the bookstore website on the chat twice. You'll just probably have to scroll.
Yeah. We also have the simplified link as well, ConcordiaBookstore.com. Surprisingly, no one else had that. So makes things easy, I hope. All right. And then Emily Larkin.
Hi, sorry. Is there a full list that we can look at of the books? Because I bought all mine secondhand. I know, taboo, but I want to see a list so I know that I make sure I have all the correct books.
Yes, so if you go to our website, concordiabookstore.com, you can actually scroll through all of the spring 22 classes, including the nursing ones, and see what books are required for each of your classes.
Okay,
and that'll include ISBN info as well. Very welcome.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Michelle Rivera. Michelle Rivera, come on down.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, there we go.
So I was just wondering, when will the books for January be mailed out? As I don't move into my new apartment until January 2nd, I don't want them to be sitting there if it's going to come like before then.
So they won't be, for the nursing students, we won't automatically ship them. We're going to instead send you that email. If I had said that before, I apologize. So when you guys get that email, you'll be asked to respond if you need them shipped to you. If instead you would rather just pick up, you don't need to do anything else. You can just come by and get them. But if you need them shipped, we'll have a little form that you can fill out. So you could just respond to that after you know you're secure, or hey, if you have like, say, a partner or a good friend, or like, your place of work, if they let you do that, like a secure place you can have a ship it to, you could do that. Do note that wherever you have it ship it to, it'll be your responsibility to pick it up from there. at that point. Or you could just wait until you're moved in by early January. You know, classes don't start till January 10th. So, and FedEx shipping here in this area is pretty quick. So you should be okay.
Okay, thank you.
Very welcome. All right, and then Gabriella Madrigal.
Hi, I don't know if I heard this right, but earlier you said something about you get a discount at the bookstore if you're opted into the textbook program. Is that correct?
Yes, so that is on your required nursing supplies and uniform material. So that's a 30% discount. It's
How do
one of the
we
bonuses we give to you.
how do we like obtain that discount? Like, do we have a code or how do they know that?
When you come in, just mention that you are in the nursing book program, and
Okay,
then
so
we pull up your profile and that'll tell us.
okay, so if we order online, it won't be able to, we won't be able to do that.
I think we're working out a kink real quick, but I will email your Orbis and your professors once we have that sorted out. I think there might be a slight kink. It might be fixed by now, but I'll double check that for you guys.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And then Tanya Valdez.
Yeah, do they automatically like put you in that program or you can just opt out? Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
Because
you're
I haven't,
automatically.
yeah, because I've been receiving books to my address and I don't remember like requesting them. So, but I thought
You
for
mean
the
from prior terms?
yeah, because I'm taking the religious courses right now. But I
Mhm.
thought like for the nursing program, it was going to be like a different thing that I had to like, you know, opt in. Um, but when is the deadline to opt out?
Tomorrow. But again, I would really double check, you know, what sources you're planning on trying to get these from. Again, if you're buying them from
Yeah.
students who have been in the program, do know that I can guarantee you probably half those books are going to be outdated and those won't fly in your nursing classes. I have had heads of the nursing program tell me that the only students that they've generally had a lot of questions about textbooks come in after classes have started are ones who got their books elsewhere. Because either they got the wrong edition or the wrong version. One of the things we guarantee is that we're going to get you the materials that your professors are requiring. And if there is an issue for whatever reason, you know, we are liable and we will absolutely help you guys out with that. Meanwhile, if you purchase that from a third party source,
Yeah.
they may just say tough luck. Funny anecdote. Years ago, I did have a student who came in. She was a J1 nursing student and said, yeah, I just needed to get a couple of them because a friend of mine, and by friend, she met random strangers she met online, sold her all of the textbooks from when they were a nursing student. And we told them, I'm sorry, but more than half of these are outdated. And so she then had to scramble to find that person's number and ask if she can get a refund. So keep that in
Yeah,
mind.
I wouldn't do that. But also,
Okay,
do you have
we'll hold
to
you to that, Tony.
wait the whole do you have to wait the whole semester? Like let's say you don't opt out this semester, can you opt out next semester?
No, so that to clarify something about the opt-in, opt-out process, it's all or nothing. So either you're opted in and you're opted in throughout, but if you opt out and you're opted out one semester and then you try to opt in the next, we would have to talk with Student Central about what we could work out. There may not be a whole lot they could do at that point. So again, you know, it is for the long term.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay. If I do recommend reaching out to Student Central, it sounds like you have a lot of questions regarding that. Definitely reach out to Student Central today, so that way you could talk with them about that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. And
And then
Jasmine's
Jasmine
question,
Lewis.
yeah, Jasmine, your question is going to be the last question for Rich so that we can wrap up with him and finish answering whatever other questions y'all have.
You are on mute, Jasmine.
Okay.
There you go.
So hi, I'm Jasmine. I'm the site director here for the DFW expansion. I just wanted to clarify for our new DFW students, since there is not a physical bookstore here in Dallas, they'll all obviously have to get those mailed. However, I did just want to ask if a student would prefer to go down to Austin to get their books. Do they have that option, or will DFW students automatically get theirs shipped since they're not close?
I would definitely, yeah, if a DFW student wants to take the visit out to Austin, for whatever reason, yeah, we're happy to cater to them in store. And Jasmine, I'll go ahead and reach out to you after this call today, just to make sure that, we got our planning sorted out. I want to make sure that your students are taken care of.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Very welcome.
Rich, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing all of that with our students. And y'all,
Absolutely.
again, you can reach out to Student Central to help answer a lot of these questions. But we really just encourage you to thoroughly make sure that you've got the correct resources for the spring start and for the remainder of the program. And one of the ways that we can ensure that is with the textbook program. So Rich has been just a wonderful support to our nursing students. And I've walked through the textbook program myself with him to make sure that everything's correct and up to date. So really appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. All right, y'all. We're going to wrap up today with just a few more questions. I know we haven't finished absolutely all of the questions you guys have had regarding compliance because there are quite a few of them. But again, I want to re-emphasize that if you have everything available to you uploaded to Clinical Student by tomorrow, we will reach out to you next week regarding further steps or further clarification if there's something additional that we need from you. Okay. Regarding your MMR vaccine, your Tdap, your varicella, your influenza, your COVID, those vaccinations need to be uploaded to Clinical Student. The chickenpox, if you have a record of chickenpox as having had it as a kid, then you can upload that record. It can be, a doctor's note that you have, or even a letter from your parents, frankly, that said, my kid had chickenpox when they were 4. We can go ahead and work with that kind of thing, okay? So just make sure that your vaccines are all updated. Regarding your physical, there is a form in Clinical Student. You need to take that form with you to your provider, and your provider needs to fill out the form, and then you need to submit that to Clinical Student, okay? And that form is set there just to make sure that you are well enough and capable enough to do the program. Nursing is a really physical job. You're on your feet all day for the most part. There's some lifting and bending and stretching, and sometimes, you're going to have some really intense physical moments. Let's say you're doing CPR, right? So you have to be cleared medically in order to participate in the program for those reasons, okay? CPR. We need your CPR to be basic life support, BLS, for healthcare providers through the American Heart Association, okay? We need that standard. That's what our clinical partners are requiring. So we need that standard uploaded. Again, CPR is one of those requirements that expires every couple of years. So just be very mindful of the issue date that you got for that. You need to have completed both the hands-on portion of CPR as well as any online or in-person lesson portion. Okay, so you need to do that. Insurance. You need to have healthcare insurance while you're in the program. That healthcare insurance needs to offer coverage in the state of Texas, and that's because, God forbid, something would happen to you, right, during the program, whether external to class, or let's say something happened to you at clinicals, maybe you had an exposure of some kind, right? We need to ensure that you have insurance to help cover you for that. Concordia does not have a healthcare provider, a clinic, or any kind of insurance option available from the university. Okay. Your insurance plan cannot be month-to-month renewal. Okay, just so you know, we can't accept month-to-month renewing insurance. Your background screening, again, all of that there are 2 background screens that are completed. Okay, one is done through Clinical Student and one is done by the Board of Nursing. The one that's done by the Board of Nursing is what then contributes to you getting your blue card or your letter from the Board of Nursing. The one through clinical student is one that they do to validate their process. Okay, so just to keep track of that. Drug screening. You guys are all eligible to get that drug screening done. If you have done that drug screening, the results should be sent directly to clinical student. If for some reason those results have not posted yet in clinical student, we will again reach out to you after the 10th to inquire about what may be going on. Okay. When it comes to, I'm watching a lot of questions come up, so let me go back a hot second and make sure that I'm answering everything. If your stethoscope is pink, is that okay? Yes, that is okay. Can you get a titer before the 30 days after your Hep B booster to at least check? You can, but again, the recommendation is that you wait 30 days after a booster. Recommendations for footwear. They need to be, so part of our student handbook talks about the uniform policy. So I'm going to pull that up really quickly so that I can go through it with you guys. And I'll drop the link to the student handbook here in this chat so that you guys have that as well. But it outlines the scrubs and footwear requirements, but really what you need for footwear, first and foremost, is something that is closed-toed, close-heeled, okay? And they need to be white, black, or gray, or a combination thereof, okay? And they have to be made of materials that do not allow fluids to pass through them, okay? You do not want some sort of like mesh fabric shoe that vomit soaks into. That is gross. You won't want vomit touching your socks and your toes any more than I would. Blood, urine, feces, all kinds of fluids have the potential to get onto your shoes, even if you're being careful, right? Sometimes you cannot control somebody's projectile vomiting, like the angle, right? You want to keep your feet protected. So you don't want shoes like Crocs. You don't want shoes that have any kind of hole in them. You want to be just a really solid material. I've worn Danskos, I've worn Allegrias, I've worn Skechers. Professional wear, there are a lot of different options. You'll really just have to find what works best for you. For scrubs, you cannot wear brands outside of Cherokee Workwear or Dickies. They have to be Cherokee Workwear or Dickies, and they need to be in the color grape. Not eggplant, but grape purple. Okay. If your insurance changes, yes, you need to upload any insurance changes to clinical student. Okay. Scrubs are not provided. You purchase them on your own. You can purchase them from the bookstore. The patches that need to go on your scrubs are available for purchase from the bookstore. Okay. Question: health insurance cannot be month to month. Some health insurance plans are a month-to-month coverage. You need to have a health insurance plan that covers the entire semester. Any good place to buy them? For scrubs, you can really just search online. Amazon sells them. Again, they sell them at the bookstore as well. Nicole, I see that your hand is up.
I had a question about clinical student. So whenever I submitted to have my drug screen done, it then gave me a message that said that I needed to resubmit for another one because y'all had canceled my first drug screen. So I did that, but now it's not uploading the results from that second drug screen.
Okay, send us an email so that we can work on that one-on-one with you.
Okay.
Because I don't know why that would be the case.
And I'll just add that with the drug screens, there is a little bit of a time delay from when the lab is collected, and then there's a chain of custody that sample has to go through before those results are posted to clinical students. So likely if you had it done, it'll just take a little bit of time for it to get posted. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Emily, to answer your question, Chromebooks are actually not compatible with our program. Chromebooks are not compatible. Some of the testing software we use is not compatible with a Chromebook. So that is the case. If you're compliant in clinical student, we are actively working on registrations. So just please be patient. Your final course registrations will be completed potentially even into next week. It may change before the beginning of the semester as well. So just be aware of that. Gabriella, your hand is up.
Okay, I have a friend who was in the nursing program, and she had told me that you guys only allow for us to wear the Concordia jacket. Is that correct? Because I want to put that on my Christmas list if if that
Yes.
is. Okay.
Yes. So if you want to wear any kind of like undershirt under your scrubs that's long sleeve, you can do that. It can be white, black, gray, navy blue, solid turtleneck. It can be worn under the scrubs. But if you want to wear any kind of jacket, you cannot wear a scrub jacket, but you can wear the Concordia fleece jacket. And mine is in my car. Otherwise, I would show it to you. But it is sold from the bookstore. It's the Concordia purple fleece jacket. It is so cozy, and I actually wear mine a lot. But yes, that is what you can wear for that.
Okay.
Emily, your hand is up. You're welcome. Emily Larkin.
Hi. So just for the clinical student, we had to do our license plate for our parking permits because I'm moving from California to Texas. When I get there, I have to register for a Texas plate. So
sure.
Is it going to be a problem to change the permit, or is there going to be an issue? Because I'm not going to do it for a couple months after being there.
I don't anticipate there being a problem.
Okay.
Once you get updated information, just update that in clinical student.
Okay.
Because we realize that some of you are relocating.
Yeah. So just refill out the form and submit it.
That may work very well.
Okay, because it's in the Baylor Scott. It's the first packet with the 7 pages. So I just didn't know if just.
So once you get that updated, just reach out to us and we'll help you walk through that process.
Okay, thank you.
As long as you're welcome. So sorry. As long as your scrubs are Dickies or Cherokee workwear, the style of the scrub needs to be again in that grape purple color. But if they're Dickies or Cherokee workwear, there are several different kinds of cuts to tops, bottoms, cargo pockets, whatever. As long as they're within those brands, you should be good to go. DFW does not need a parking permit. Evelyn Sanchez, what is your question?
Hi, sorry if I missed when you said it. Which week will simulations and clinical start? And when do we get schedules?
So your courses will open up to you in Blackboard the Friday before class starts. So that'll be January 7th. By then you should have your not only your course schedule, but like the schedules for what's happening each week in each individual course. Okay. And for your first week, all of your classes will start in that first week. Okay. So I want y'all to be prepared to come to class that first Monday. Okay. And we'll continue to communicate information to you up to the beginning of the semester start. We know that sometimes there's some last minute changes, some confusion, all of that stuff. Please continue to check your emails across the semester or the Christmas break, and then towards the beginning of the next semester. Essa2, what is your question?
Yes, I'm just wondering, like, how often do we wear our uniform, nursing uniform? I just want to know how many that I'm gonna buy. If we wear them only during clinical time, or even during normal class.
Yeah. So scrubs you need to wear to your clinicals, your simulation classes, and your skills classes. I highly recommend having at least 2 pairs, but probably closer to 3 pairs of scrubs. Because if something happens and you get some sort of body fluids on one pair, it's nice to have another pair in your car that you can change into. Additional recommendation, also pack extra socks. Just saying. You never know.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Samuel, what's your question?
Yes, you mentioned the Chromebooks won't be sufficient. How about iPad Pros? Are you able to use that for this program?
So the student handbook outlines what kind of electronic requirements we have. We have students that use iPad Pros, and most of the time it works really well. Occasionally there's a hiccup, but the hiccup can occur with any software system. I just know definitively that Chromebooks will not work.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure. Yeah, I have a desktop at home, and the iPad Pro would just be for basically out of my apartment.
Sure, absolutely. But
All right,
you
cool.
will need
Awesome.
to be able to be comfortable with whatever electronic thing that you have. That's what you're going to be taking your exams on. Okay, you're not going to be taking exams on the computers that we have here at school. You're going to be taking exams on your own system. So if you're comfortable taking your exam on an iPad, then go for it.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Kyle, what is your question?
Hi, Tanya. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Two questions. I was trying to upload the Baylor Scott and White form, and the portal for that form isn't openable to download anything into. Does that make sense? Like all the other ones can be clicked on and have forms uploaded, but that first one, I can't do anything with it other than see information about it.
Okay, reach out to me with an email so that I can follow up on that.
Okay, I know a couple other students were having that same problem I saw in the chat. And second question, there's a few brands that make like clog type things that are non-permeable that have a semi-closed back. Would those be okay?
So so a lot of clogs have maybe like a lower cut back, but whatever shoe style it is that y'all wear, clogs included, it has to have a full back covering.
Okay.
It has to fully wrap around your ankles and in the back of your heel.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. We're gonna take a couple of more questions, guys. Just because I want to be respectful of your time. I know that we're finishing a little bit early, but I also think, again, we are going to reach out to all of you individually if we have questions about your compliance documentation after the 10th. Okay. Marifer.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning, Professor Ward. This is more of a scheduling question. I am trying to figure out if I need to put in my 2 weeks at work because they said they could maybe work with my schedule. So I kind of wanted to ask more about how scheduling would work or how it would look like during the week.
So you need to be available to be on site somewhere, anywhere from probably 2 to 5 days out of the week on any given semester, right? So for this first semester, you'll have clinicals on site, simulation on site, and skills on site. So that's 3 days out of the week. If you're ABSN, that you'll need to be on site for something. If you're trad, you'll have to be on site additionally for your lecture courses. So that may be closer to 5 days out of the week. So it's really hard for us to give like exact advice because I don't know definitively what your schedule is yet for the spring semester. You may want to just see if your employer can be flexible with that. If they can be, that's great. And if they're not able to be flexible, then I understand that as well. I will say, by and large, students who work while in this program have to be really well organized and really disciplined with their time. The more a student works during the program, the more often statistically we have seen students struggle academically because they cannot devote the time that they need to their studies. And so you really need to be expecting to devote at least 20 to 40 hours of studying outside of your classes. Okay.
Of course. Thank you so much for answering my question.
Okay. All right. So the last question I'm going to take is from Tanya.
Hi. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a couple of questions. So I was thinking about getting like 3 different scrubs, like because like you said, anything can come up. Can we get our I don't know what they're called, badges? Can we get them shipped to us, or do we have to go to campus? and buy them over there.
The patches for your scrubs?
Yeah.
You can get them from the bookstore and have them sent to you.
Great. Okay. I have another question regarding financial aid. I know I received this like email the other day, basically saying anybody that has a balance on their tuition will not be signed up for classes. I know they still haven't replaced Maggie, so it's been really hard because I am gonna have to take like private loans and I have no clue about how they work. And I just really wanted to speak to somebody about how, what my options were. I applied for financial aid, but they just gave me like 3 different loans, and I don't know I don't know what they mean. And I just wanted to go, of course, with the best option.
Yeah.
Oh, Cindy Melendez
So,
just emailed me.
Yeah, you'll see in the chat. That's really a question that Student Central has to support you with, because I am just not familiar with all of the financial aid requirements and options for students. So I am not the best person to answer that question. That would definitely be a Student Central question. And I know that they are working very diligently to try to get all of those financial aid pieces coming together. But yes, Cindy makes a really great point.
Especially because we only have 1 month, and I'm like, hopefully I am able to start in January, but I only have 1 month in order to get that balance, below 500. I think that's what they said. So yeah, that was a question. I have another question. I'm sorry. For the clinicals, is every week different? Like, is it gonna be like different days every week, or
No.
have like
No, you're going to have a set schedule. So your clinicals are going to be a set schedule. So let's say your clinicals are Monday AM shifts for the whole semester. They will be Monday AM shifts, unless unfortunately something would happen maybe with an instructor and we had to change that. Okay.
Okay.
So you will not have a rotating clinical schedule.
Okay, awesome. I thought it was going to be like unpredictable every week, and I was just going to leave work for that specific semester because I didn't want to miss anything. But yes, thank you so much for your help.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, y'all. I know that there are still a few questions and comments rolling in. Again, I want to reiterate that if you have questions for the bookstore, please reach out to the bookstore. If you have questions for financial aid, please reach out to Student Central. If you have uploaded everything to Clinical Student, fantastic. We will reach out to you guys after the 10th, so sometime next week, if we need additional information from you or with further guidance if there's a specific situation going on with you, okay? So the link to the student handbook is, again, I dropped it in the chat earlier. I'm going to drop it again now. This is where you need to go to look at what the uniform requirements are, what the electronics requirements are, what other requirements that we have in just the general policies and procedures of being a nursing student with us. We are so excited for you guys to start in the spring, both here in Austin and in DFW. Whether you're accelerated or trad, you are all Concordia students, and we are so blessed and excited to be starting your nursing career with you. And so I encourage you to, again, work through each other, join the GroupMe apps, find your friends. If you're relocating, a lot of students are relocating from California and New York, same places. You might find some friends that way. You will have program or classes throughout the program that address specific things. So once you get to your S2 semester, there is an NCLEX prep class. So your whole nursing education is leading up to you guys being successful on the NCLEX so that you can go out there and be rock star nurses. That's what we're here to help you do. We are here to help teach you how to be professional, safe nurses so that you can go out there and fulfill your passion and calling. And we're going to do everything we can to support you along the way. Okay. Again, please be understanding that we are all working incredibly hard to answer your emails as soon as we can. So if there is a little bit of a delay, please know that we are diligently working through things. Dr. Shamus, Christina, myself, Student Central, we will all work on getting back to you. So please just be patient. And again, if you have not heard from us a response to your specific email, we will reach out next week if there's anything compliance related that we need to get cleared up. All right, I'm just going to close us in prayer as we lead into this next chapter for y'all in the spring semester. So let us pray. Father God, thank you so much for just being present with us today and supporting us and holding our anxieties and fears and encouraging our excitement and calling with everything. We look to you for strength and guidance as we walk through these next few semesters, learning to become a professional and a safe nurse and fulfill the calling that we've had to help others. Thank you so much for supporting us and guiding us and leading us in your faith. In God's name, amen. Bye, y'all. Have a great day.